Anyone's done it, it's Shane Dawson, 100%.
Shane Dawson, wow.
What a legend of the YouTube scene. Hashtagger of the year. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the ShiteTalk podcast with myself, the True Lily Whites, and of course, Mr. Aaron Kelly. Today, I believe, is episode 21 or 22?
21, yeah. We're flying.
21. And we've finally gotten around to it, boys. It's the one that has been requested a lot, the return of conspiracy theories. So Mr. Kelly has done a lot of work behind the scenes to set this up. So this should be a good podcast. This should be an enjoyable one. So strap in, boys and girls. Get yourself a cup of tea. Want to cuddle a bear or some Mr. Kelly's on the ball. But yeah, before we get into that, Aaron, how are you? Any crack with you, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram and Twitter today, but today, May 21st of 2021, is my 4-year anniversary on YouTube, everyone. I uploaded my first video on this day in 2017. And yeah, another anniversary, you know, it's good. It's good. I think this year has been the most subscribers I've gained over any year or any, 365 days. I think I did a video last year on this day that was like, I was like, 3-year anniversary. And I think I was on 272 subs. And although I've not made a massive jump, we're nearly at 400 now, 393 or 394, one or the other. But yeah, so it's been good. And yeah, just nice to have getting through another year without being cancelled, essentially, which is always fun for everyone involved.
Yeah, that's the main thing with us, is just trying to avoid getting cancelled early on in the early stages. I think we both agree that it's maybe more so myself. It's a miracle that one of us at least hasn't got cancelled yet. It is what it is. We won't complain too much about it. We'll fire on with that anyway.
yeah, it's good now. It's good, and obviously, I think it's good that the growth has been better for me over the last year. Seen as though this year has been so hard to come up with videos, being in lockdown and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just feeling proud, lads. Feeling proud, it's fair to say. But yeah, onwards and upwards from here. What else has happened? Not much. Not been on. But what I will say is this will be coming out on Tuesday. On Friday, I'm taking part in Third Time Lucky again, which is, good as well. So lads, make sure you're tuning into the Third Time Lucky YouTube channel on Friday for another stream. Your boy and the Bell Grievach is going to be on it again. Yep. We won't reveal what happened, but we did another football video, and yeah, it was really good fun, really good crack, and definitely a concept we'll be looking at probably doing again. It's just great to be able to get back out filming football videos on a consistent basis again, because now college is over, and it was good. We got 2 very good videos recorded, but yeah, that's pretty much all the news I have, mate. What about yourself?
Yeah, just exactly that, mate. Just like we were saying beforehand, little things coming back, training and stuff like that. But I think the Third Time Lucky thing, that was definitely the main thing that we both got involved in. I was actually going to play. I was looking for the Third Time Lucky stream to actually play it in the background like we did before.
Oh yeah.
But it just wouldn't work for me there. The mechanics of my Wi-Fi decided it wasn't meant to be.
Those technical issues.
Yeah, so basically I played that, tried to get on this. It took about 20 years. That's why I was a bit late. Yeah. It just wouldn't load me into the call. So I had to make a strategic change. But like Kelly says, boys, tune in. I think next Friday is I don't think we've revealed the time schedule for that yet, have we? Or
I don't know what time I'm going to be on at yet. No, that's the only thing. But that will be revealed over the next few days, I'm sure. I had to record actually a little promo video for them. That's going out probably Sunday or Monday. And it's literally just like a 5-second clip of me going, tune in to Third Time Lucky this Friday from 6 p.m. And it's like, yeah, it's cool to be involved in that stuff, man. And like, especially this time as well, like the first time was a really great cause for a really great cause in the NHS. This time it's for Mind Charity, which is a suicide awareness charity, which, you know, it's a really, really great cause. And it's great to be involved in these things. You know what I mean? Like, I never would have said, like, obviously on this day I started YouTube in 2017, I would never have said that I'd be getting involved in like charity streams and stuff like that. Like that, you know, it never really crossed my mind, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, we were actually saying it the other day, mate. Like, it's mad to think, like, especially like the charity live streams. You know, like, I mean, we've obviously talked about, you know, what if we got into this, that, and the other, you know, on YouTube, and like see, you know, the boy on the live stream is pretty sick, and yeah, it's really cool concept to be a part of, and yeah, you love to see it.
Yeah, hopefully we keep getting asked back onto that now, because it's really good. It's a really good thing to be a part of, I have to say. Shall we get into the conspiracy theories then? I've done a little bit of research going into today, and the last time we did this, it's actually not too far off a year ago, maybe a month or two off since our first conspiracy series episode. We covered a lot of dark topics on that episode. Like, we talked about Maddie McCann, we talked about the royal family. There was a lot of touchy subjects, but, you know, it just goes to show the range that the ShiteTalk podcast has, lads. We're not afraid to tackle these subjects. But, you know, I decided today we'd go for a little bit more of a light-hearted approach. And we talked about aliens the last day, right?
Yes.
And the possibility of all that kind of crack. But there was an interview that came out recently on the Late Late Show, James Corden's Late Late Show. I don't know if you've seen it, with Barack Obama. Did you see what he said?
I heard the iconic sentence. Was it something that along the lines of, he literally couldn't tell us what he knows about aliens?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, he physically can't tell us.
Yeah, I'll read out the quote here. I think I have it here. Yeah, so he was on James Corden Late Late Show. He said, "When it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you." In a response to show band leader Reggie Watts' query, so he must have been on the show, and he obviously asked this question about his theories on UFOs. Obama said, "When I came into office, I asked, is there the lab somewhere where we're keeping the alien specimens in spaceships? They did a little bit of research, and the answer is no." So that's obviously, I presume that's like referring to Area 51 and all that kind of stuff. But he did say there are some things that I just can't tell you. Now, that really did get the old mind thinking. What can't he tell us? What is he hiding? And what is it that's so important that he has to hide it, that if he reveals it, all shit's going to break loose? Like,
well, I suppose that's the question at the end of the day. I mean, like we say there, I think when everyone heard that, it was a kind of like one of those ominous moments where we were kind of like, well, what does he mean by that then? Like, is it a case of he can't tell us because, you know, there's some stuff, this is really stretching, there's some sort of agreement there that, you know, that they can't reveal a certain amount? Or, like you say, is it something maybe a bit more in depth that we can't potentially process and understand?
I got a lot of people thinking, and it's just like, people have revealed some stuff before about you know, the videos that were leaked and all that kind of stuff. Like, remember the one we talked about last year of the UFOs spotted by like Navy SEAL, what would you call it, people who work in the Navy? And we were kind of like, oh, well, this is it. Like, this is concrete evidence, isn't it? And, you know, that seemed concrete enough. This makes me think this is something more, what would you say, more concrete? Like, it's, I don't know what it is. Like, it got a lot of people.
I think the main thing is that we saw last time we saw footage. Footage is one thing. I think the main argument that can be made with footage is that, you know, oh, it could be fake, it could be this, that, and the other. I think now, like you say, it's more concrete when we have the literal president of the United States, you know, a position in an office that many people would consider to be one of the most powerful in the entire world. If he's come out and said that, the question has to be asked, why would he lie about that? You know, what has he got to gain from that kind of thing? Like, you could argue, like, you know, people leaking footage and stuff like that, or a bit of views, you know. get people on tweeting about this, that, and the other. When someone comes out and says it, I know it's, there's always a question where you could have just been making that up. But what I'd be thinking is why? Why would he make that up? If he's come out and said that, there's obviously, a solid possibility that it's quite true.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'd just love to know what it is that he couldn't tell. Like it was there. It was on the tip of his tongue. But he was like, "Look, there's just some things that I just can't reveal." Is it like? Now this might be a bit of a stretch, and this might sound a bit dumb, but what if this thing that he's hiding or that he can't tell is something that's happening right now, like a secret invasion? That's the kind of shit I'm looking at.
No.
What if, mate, they're here already and they just have like this shape-shifting abilities? I sound fucking mental right now, I know that, but
that's the thing, mate. Like, we don't know. And the thing about like the conspiracy theories is like, we don't know. There's something there, and like you say, you're stretching, but like at this point, I don't think there is stretching anymore. Like, there's so much going on. On that as well, I actually meant to say this yet before the podcast. Did you hear? There was, I can't remember where I heard it, but now and again, this could be stretching as well, boys. But you have to allow a little bit of stretching. It's a conspiracy theory episode. We are throwing ideas at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of these time travelers? Have you, like, potential, boys that come back to our time and leak information?
Yeah, I've heard about that. All right, yeah.
Have you heard the one recently that came out, or maybe I think it might have been the start of the month or something like that?
No, what was that? What was that about?
So that came out. So apparently a time traveler has come back, quotation marks time traveler, and he has said, or she has said, I don't know, that aliens are going to be revealed to us within the next month or two. That it's actually going to be fully revealed. We're going to know a lot more about the aliens and stuff like that. Now, very not specifics. They didn't say what we'd learn, but they said we would learn a lot. Now, flash forward to today, mate. Barack Obama has come out and said, we can't tell us something about aliens.
Yeah,
kind of solidifying that obviously aliens are there, and that, like you say, there's something there he can't tell us. And this has happened. Now, that could be coincidence, but that has happened in the time frame said by this alleged time traveler. That is a bit dodgy, if you ask me.
Yeah, that is dodge, mate. So let's say what you're saying is true, and the time traveler's prophecy fucking happens, and within the next month they reveal something. What do you think that is? Like, what kind of information is going to be, look, they exist somewhere, or is it going to be the thing that I was alluding to? They're already here, man, and they're controlling everything, or they're at the top of society.
You know what? I think, personally, they definitely will reveal that obviously they exist. I think it's already been hinted at that they do. That's an interesting point, though. I never actually thought about it like that they're at the top level controlling the way we work.
Yeah.
And that would make, maybe, like, it would be interesting to see that. Now, if that came out, and obviously we're already speculating here, if that did come out, that would be a bit mental. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that would be so strange. I don't want to bring it to like I don't want to compare it to something that's obviously not real, but Marvel, right, in the movies, they have these, did I mention this on the podcast last year? I feel like I might have. Maybe. They have these characters that are called Skrulls that are essentially aliens, but they shapeshift and blend into society. And some characters, like the most recent Spider-Man movie, for example, Nick Fury, who's like the head of everything, like with the Avengers and all that kind of stuff, he was in that movie. He was in the Spider-Man movie, but it was revealed in a post-credit scene that it wasn't actually him. It was a Skrull. Like, it was an alien. So what if that isn't that far off what is reality?
That's the thing, mate. And then that's the other thing. Like, you get that, and then you have to ask yourself, who else? Who else is that? Like,
Yeah.
like we talk about things that like there's been historic events, like, and I'd be thinking like, what who's this? Like, just on that, you saying like, this main character, is an alien. What other? Now take it back to a real life context. What main characters, like big figures, bloody aliens? What, like, if we're throwing that shifting mindset in, how much of history has actually been done by us? Like, realistically, now, if we're thinking about it, that would be what's going through my head. Like, have we actually said, "Oh, humans have done this and we've invented this and that," when actually it's been these boys shape-shifted, helping us develop, so to speak?
Yeah, and if that was the thing that was revealed, that would just make you question everything that's ever happened, everyone you've ever met, every event that's ever, as you said, every event. And when you said there about events through history, that reminded me of another thing that we brought up in the last podcast, which was the pyramids and how they were done and all that kind of stuff. And we were like, oh, I remember we came to the conclusion actually that, oh, well, yeah, those were aliens. Yeah, it is what it is. Like, we didn't even question it anymore. It was just, that's what it is.
Fair enough, like, it must be like.
Yeah, so
that's the thing, like, mate. Like, you think about that. We'll take it. We won't spend too long on that pyramids topic, but like, I think we mentioned it last time. Like, how do you move them blocks? How do you get them? You can maybe get the base, but them ones on top, like, they're heavy bastard blocks. I'm not believing for a second that they were, big buddy Pharaoh came along with his magic stick. And
he's on the super soldier serum. He's fucking.
He's called in the contractors to fucking bring this massive stone about 200 feet up in the air, like, magically using pulley system.
Yeah.
Fuck off, like.
I actually remember that clip from episode 10, the first conspiracies episode, when we were talking about the pyramids and that, and you especially were like, mate, you're like, these blocks are like half the size of that wall and half the size of. And you were like, man, he's like, there's no way they're doing this. There's no way.
It's not possible.
Yeah, but I fully agreed with you. Like, but yeah, if that was the big thing that was revealed, that time traveler alluded to, time traveler, like,
allegedly time traveler.
We're just taking this time traveling as fact now. But it's a conspiracy theories episode. You're gonna have to allow us. But yeah, if that is what is revealed, that's fucked. And that makes you that blows everything wide open once again. But
all facts.
Yeah, I felt, seeing as though that was topical, I felt like that was probably a good way to start it. Now, I've got another one to show you here. And for this one, I need to show you a little picky. Hang on now.
Oh.
Have you ever seen this man?
No.
You've not seen him anywhere?
I actually have not seen this man, and I'm quite nervous now.
So basically, the theory for this one is that this guy pops up in everyone's dreams in some sense. So when you're asleep, you're dreaming about whatever, no matter what it is, this guy will show up in some degree, whether he's a main character, whether he's just standing in the background. And I can safely say, mate, I have seen this geezer in my dreams.
Oh, God.
Yeah, 100%.
No way.
100%. And I've got a few notes on him here. He's literally known as this man. And it was I think it was people are calling it an internet hoax, but they did some study, and I don't know how many people they studied on, but 2,000 people from major cities such as LA, Berlin, Sao Paulo, Beijing, Rome, they all said and claimed to have seen this guy in their dreams while sleeping. Stories from those who dreamed him, who remained anonymous, suggest he was a Brazilian school teacher who had 6 fingers on his right hand. These dreamers' experiences of the man varied from romantic, sexual, or deadly situations to flying with the man to just seeing him staring at the dreamer and doing nothing. So he's, people have given accounts of this guy in their fucking dreams. I can safely say that it rings a bell. It really does. It's just, I don't know what it is about it. It's just uncanny. It's fucked. So yeah, I've got not an awful lot else to say about that, mate, but it's just, I mean, is it even a conspiracy theory? Like, what would be the reasoning for this fucking creepy looking bastard just appearing in your dreams?
This is the thing. Now, I'm actually quite interested by this, mate, because I've never seen that picture before. I've never seen that person before. Tonight, am I going to see this man in a potential dream? Perhaps. That is what I'm going to report back to you tomorrow, and we'll maybe tuck it in post edit or something like that.
Yeah. But do actually, yeah. Maybe send me a little voice note if you do see it.
I'll send you a voice note or something, and I'll explain as best as I can recollect of what happens. But I mean, I suppose the thing is, right, when you dream, I remember reading like somewhere that your mind will just generate people. Like if you're in a dream, your mind will generate a mix of just random people, like a combination of faces and features that you've met from other people, and then make one random person, and that's just your mind filling out a dream or whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that, and I would say, what I'm trying to say is that's just you. That's random. That's not, you don't really connect it unless it's a big figure that everyone has seen, like say, for instance, a movie star. The fact that now that person, that face in particular, is repeatedly come up in about 2,000 other people's dreams. And as far as I'm aware, I assume you'll correct me, he's not anyone major. It's just a face.
It's just a face. I think it was a thing back in caveman times. Not caveman time, but like a long time ago. Basically, somebody was having nightmares and started seeking therapy, and when they did, they were asked to basically draw out who was like the main threat or the main character that kept popping up in the dreams, and this was it. And somehow he's, through generation to generation, he started popping up in other people's dreams, and I'd be 99% sure that I've seen him at some point in a dream.
Bloody hell.
And not necessarily being the main threat or being like the focal point of the dream, but
ass and face almost.
Being there and just in the background in like a group of people. That's a bit fucked. I don't know why. It's just something fucked about that.
It's definitely uneasy now. I have to say now, like especially the fact that most people can't remember dreams, or like a lot of features of the dreams. The fact that these people recollect this face in particular. To that level of detail where you can see that picture and say, that's him, that's the bastard there. That begs the question. And I suppose then the next question I would have to ask you, mate, is this just, like you say, not to use the word hoax, because obviously it's happened multiple times, but is this just a thing of the mind seeing a face and then by virtue of seeing the face, it implements it into your dream? Or is it something a bit dodgier? And I'm going to throw a term at you here. I don't know if this is correct terminology, but sort of not a dream eater, because obviously, Pokemon related. That's the only thing I can think of. Like someone who, like Inception, like that kind
feeds
of thing.
off a type thing, is it?
Yeah, like as in it can go into people's dreams. It's there. It's not really doing anything. It's just there.
Yeah. I feel like the most likely outcome and the most likely possibility of it is the first one, where it's just like, I've seen this, I've drawn that association with it, that it pops up in your dreams, and then it has. That seems like the more likely one, if I'm being honest. And it's the one I'd like to think is probably the realistic option, because that second one sounds haunting.
Have seen it, I definitely think that is probably the one that we'll go with for now, for the peace of mind of yourself.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I have to say on that. I think it's made even worse by the fact that it's so fucking creepy. Like, just look at it.
It's very, very unsettling, I have to say. I actually thought when you saw it, it was when I saw it, it was like a fucking one of those killers from a documentary or something like that.
Yeah, like a mugshot or something.
Yeah, very, very clear and just like, dodgy.
That's what that is anyway. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And have you seen him? If I'll put it up on screen here now.
That'd be interesting actually. Let us know if you have actually encountered or have some recollection of someone similar to that. And obviously, do you believe Greebatch's dream eating theory, or is it a load of waffle spouted by some man in Ireland?
Yeah, well, let us know, lads, because it is interesting. A lot of you would probably think it's a load of bollocks, but I don't. It could be a load of bollocks, but like I can say that I've seen a figure resembling this Donny.
Yeah, and just on that, boys, as well. Just what I came into my head about obviously hosts and shit like that. I will hand on my heart promise that if I see this gossing, or if I don't see this gossing, I won't give anything. I won't fake shit. You know, we're all legit here. Hand on my heart, Kelly knows best. I will be honest, and if I see him, you'll hear it. If not, that'll be the end of that.
Lovely stuff. We move. Okay, what else we got here? I think I took down more than the last day to keep us going. Let me see. Okay, this is let me see. Yeah, this one is similar to the first one we talked about with the aliens. We're going to keep bringing it back into that because I'm just fascinated by the whole thing. This isn't necessarily aliens, but people reporting of civilization on Mars. What's your thoughts on that? I think there was something like, let me see. I'll read out what I have here. Some conspiracy theorists claim that there have been, in the past and currently are, civilizations on Mars. There's supposed to be human-like extraterrestrials who inhabited the planet a long time ago and have used Mars for as a base for some time. People point out that there are many underground tunnels and cities on Mars, similar to Earth, where these beings are said to live. It is also said that the United States government has the technology to travel to Mars and that they have secretly taken humans from planet Earth over to Mars since the late 60s. It is said that Mars is very much like Earth and not as red as commonly portrayed on the surface. Vegetation is said to be scarce on the moon, and therefore there is not much oxygen on the surface, so it is very hard to breathe without assistance. There was a picture attached with that as well, but I don't have that. It was like a zoomed out image of the planet, and you could it was like a geezer was just like sitting on a rock on the fucking planet. So do you think this is yeah, just casually. Do you think this is another secret that the government hold from us? And if so,
I mean, look,
why would they do that?
Yeah, look, I'll say this, mate. I'll say what I think anyway. I think you're right. I think you're bang on. I think definitely. I think when you think about us and like where we are, there's I think there's 7 planets now, or is it? Are we down to?
God, I actually no idea, mate. Is it? I know Pluto was mudded, wasn't it? So
yeah, Pluto's in the mud. Pluto probably knowing that, but Pluto's probably the one with all the aliens on that because we've just been like, fuck it.
Probably
that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's why they did it.
There's another conspiracy theory for us. No, honest to God, I think you're right. I think there's stuff about underground tunnels and shit like that, the possibilities. I think people have been saying for a while now that Mars is probably the next Earth when, you know, the time comes where we have to think about hacking up and shifting on.
There's been plenty of times over the last year where we've thought about, you know, maybe we could just leave, lads.
maybe it is time to, you know, pack our shit and let's go on a little road trip.
It's time to go.
But no, I think you're right. I just think that there's too much options. If that's probably such a shit way to put it. There is just this like to say that we are the only people. I think we said this in the last one as well. I mean, it's borderline, I think, stupid at this point to think we are the only ones in this, you know, universe. And there's been countless theories of finding like millions of other different universes, solar systems, the potential talk of alternate realities and timelines. I mean, I think when you look at it like that, I think even in ours is probably fairly small in comparison. Like we say, let's say, just for argument's sake, someone's probably going to slay us for not knowing this, but say there is 7 planets, right? You know, we've only really gone to Mars. We've only really started looking at Mars. Moon is probably the one we've looked at the most. The Moon, I swear, at one point was mad controversy as well for like the dark side of the Moon. I think was a massive thing that people say that potentially has had aliens on it before. But in terms of Mars, I think you're right. Now, whether or not the image of the man sitting on the rock is legit.
Yeah, I think that could be just like it wasn't even that clear cut either. Like it just looked like the general shape of a geezer sitting on a rock. But, yeah.
Like, but I think you're right though. I think what we can. I think I do believe that there is, definitely something going on Mars, because obviously there's been a lot of attention drawn to Mars recently. And personally, I don't think that happens by chance. I know people will say we're looking to inhabit other places, and geezers like Elon Musk are coming into it now and trying to dip their toe into it and talk about populating Mars and stuff like that. I think that there definitely is a reason for this. I don't think. Well, look, I'm no expert on this, but I just don't think that there's. You just go and say, "Oh, that planet looks good. That's got random, we can inhabit that planet without extra help." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, what do you think about then? I said something along the lines of, they've been sending humans there since the 60s. Was another one there to Mars. Do you think that's happened or is happening? And if so, is that just like a way to test the waters, so to speak, like see if life is livable on Mars? And if so, like, are they keeping that quiet from us because, like, are they bringing these people are they sending these people against their will, maybe knowing that they're probably not going to survive?
I think, yeah. Well, look, I think I agree with you that definitely there's been something going on. I don't believe that when, say, for instance, we'll take the whole moon race, the race to the moon.
Yeah.
I don't think people would have just gone, right, that's the moon, that's our main target, when there's about 6, 7, 8 other planets there that potentially could have been up for grabs. I do think off the record, there probably was something that happens. You talk of, like, you said they're sending people up against their will. That's an interesting theory. I would be interested if I could find something, if we could do maybe a bit of external research out of it. But I could see that being a possibility. I really do. I think, again, I don't know if this is true. This could be cut out entirely for propaganda. But I do believe at some point, wasn't it CIA or the Nazis? I know the CIA did like this whole MK Ultra thing.
Yeah.
Mind control, sleeper agent, stuff like that. And I think, again, this could be cut out, so sorry, Kelly, fans, if it is. But the Nazis, I think, used to select volunteers for potentially dangerous research experiments and shit like that.
Yeah, well, I've heard that as well. Yeah, I've heard that as well. So I feel like that it could have been, I think, not just the Nazis, but I feel like a lot of other big organizations back in the, I'm not sure if it still happens, to be honest, but I'm not saying, like, I wouldn't say for sure that I believe in that one, that they've been sending people to Mars against their will, sort of thing. But I could definitely see there being some sort of experiments done to try and test the waters to see, because they'll probably be looking at it saying, there may be a thing in more than a few years, but where we have to evacuate Earth, and we need to see that there's a feasible place, a feasible option for us to send people to where they can live, like, without any trouble. That bit kind of does make sense, but when it comes to the experiments and all that kind of stuff, maybe not. I feel like I'll be probably pushing the ball out a little bit far by saying I believe in that, but yeah, it's dodgy nonetheless. But yeah, interesting stuff. Let me see what else we got. Did I start my camera recording again there? Oh, I did.
Lovely.
Bloody genius. Okay. What else we got? Okay. Now, this one is just going to be like a general one that I ask your general thoughts on, and it's what would you call, like, a phenomenon that has been dominating the news and just general conspiracy theorists for many years now. The Bermuda Triangle. Right, was another one that I found there. So basically, if you don't know, lads, I'll read out the little spiel that I got on here. The Bermuda Triangle is a region located between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. Throughout the last 50 or so years, there have been reports of strange paranormal activity going on there. Many ships have been reported missing, and they're there, and UFOs have been seen hovering around that area and going underwater. Many people believe that there is some type of magnetic activity going on there that could be related to past civilizations like Atlantis. Some people claim that the Bermuda Triangle could be a time portal that transports beings into another location or time period. So they've thrown around a couple of options for us there to kind of discuss. There's been a lot of dodgy activity going around, specifically in that area. A lot of ships going missing, planes going down. What is a logical approach to explaining what the fuck has gone on there?
I think the first thing to recommend or logical take on it is to stay the fuck away from there. I mean, you know,
you heard it here first.
Avoid the whole area.
Just
big boy Grievous. In case I'll just speak to the world leaders. Just avoid Bermuda Triangle, lads. It's dangerous. It's dodgy. Don't do it.
Just put like yellow police tape all around the fucking triangles.
Yeah, you know, like a little sign in the ocean somewhere saying, you know, do not cross this line.
Just turn around, lads.
But in terms of logical explanation, I honestly don't think there is, mate. I don't think there is. Obviously, this has been happening, like you say, for years now. And, you know, obviously, you know, people who've got the interest in it have gone investigated it and very, very rarely do come back from it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the time portal thing. That is interesting because I don't know if this is true. Maybe you'll correct me on this. When say the wreckages happen and they go in, there's never any
debris.
There's nothing recovered, basically.
Yeah, there's never. That's what I was about to say. There's never anything, never any debris or any bits like as a result of a plane crashing or a ship going down.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest thing. That fuels these theories. I don't know, man. I've no logical fucking conclusion to that. Like,
this is the thing, mate. We can sit here and say, like, you know, oh, it's this and that, but in terms of like people who, God forbid, the people who come to our podcast looking for a logical explanation for it.
You don't come to ShiteTalk looking for logic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but that just isn't, mate. And I think, like you say, the biggest thing is obviously that there's no wreckage. Now, the argument is there. If we're let's talk logic, let's talk logistics. We'll say that the wreckages have never been found because no one can get close enough to search for them.
Yeah.
That is one element of it. But I don't know. Like, obviously, there is a reason why. You know, to take planes, for instance, you know, they go down, they crash, and that's, you know, that's the end of it. Like, is it a case then? Let's say it's a time portal one, because that's the one I think it is.
You think it's that? Like,
I'm going to put my prize on the table and say I think it's some sort of energy or power that is, whatever reason, in this location, caused by whatever, whether it is a, you know, a rift or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is you get too close, like kind of a black hole. It just sucks you in. It's this energy that, you know, we can't control. It's the universe doing the universe's thing, and then it's just, and you are wherever you are in a couple of seconds.
Jeez. To be honest, that's the conclusion that I wouldn't say a lot of us want to allude to, but it kind of, it's the one that is what would you say? Not
as morbid.
Yeah, it's nearly cooler. No, that you're like going through, getting sucked through a fucking time port. Obviously, it's like horrible for the people that have just been sucked through it, but that's the one I want to believe in. My logic, like, I consider myself a very logical person, and I try to think of the most realistic. Like, whenever we talked about paranormal activity on the podcast before, like ghosts and shit like that, I've always, like, you've been very much like an advocate for this shit is like 100% real, and it's this and it's that. And I've been kind of playing devil's advocate in that sense, that I've been trying to come up with, like, okay, well, Grieve, actually, it could be this, it's probably this, or it's I've been the one that's been trying to be realistic, but like, that's not damning you for like what you've believed in and what you've seen. But if I was to think of a logical conclusion, it would be maybe the debris from these ships and these fucking planes and stuff, maybe it's just sunk so far down into the ocean, because there's parts of the ocean, mate, that haven't even been discovered yet, or we haven't even got down to yet. There was on a separate note, there was a fish that washed up onto some beach somewhere recently. That was just like, it was one of them, what would you call them? I don't know what they're called, but they're have like a
fish, I think they're called, aren't they? They have like the little light.
Yeah, they have a little light coming out the front. But this thing, number one, shouldn't be washing up on shore anyway, but this thing was jet black. Like, it didn't look like a fish that you would normally see. This looked like an alien. I know, bringing it back to it, but like that, there's creatures and there's parts of the ocean that we just have never and may never get down to. So is there a possibility that the debris from all these things, but that doesn't explain why so many events have happened here specifically.
Yeah. I mean, it's a difficult one, because there really is no evidence to support. It's like us saying this now, like me saying it's a black hole, it's speculation beyond speculation almost.
Yeah.
But like, I suppose this is the thing. Like, we are we ever going to find out? Are we ever going to know realistically if we can't even really get to it without something damning happen to it? Like,
yeah, that's the most logical conclusion I can come to. It solves one problem for me, and that's the debris problem. But the other problem is just, why is there so many events that happen in this specific area? That's the bit that's fucked for me. Like,
and the thing about it as well, mate, we haven't really even like I know we're talking about it and we're discussing it, but like, say that side of, like you're saying about events, like you're saying about UFOs apparently going near this area, like that as well is another thing. Now that, again, like we said with conspiracy theories, that this could all be speculation, waffle, bullshit. But like, for argument's sake, let's say it's happening, and let's say this has happened. Like, that's another freak event that again doesn't explain. And the other question is, if they're to use what? No, I think this is what you said. You said they were just hovering above it, like.
Yeah.
So what is different there? Because our stuff, now obviously I know UFO is potentially out of this world, but what is is there a pull there? Is there something that, you know, is, I know we've been half the podcast mentioning aliens, but is there something extraterrestrial going on in that water that is causing things to go there? Is that another side of it as well? Like you say, just on the topic of like events that happened there that you brought up earlier.
Yeah, and another thing that was brought up as well is I think, do I have it mentioned in a further here? I don't know, but I presume you've heard of like the lost city of Atlantis.
Yes. Like,
is there something going on there as well where they have something like, this is just so off the wall?
There's people now.
They're like, right, we're just gonna fucking. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Like, is this lost city just like there? Is that where it is? I don't know. It's
mental to think about, because there's so many. You can really let your mind go with this one. This one is kind of like,
you could
there could be infinite possibilities as to what's going on there.
Yeah, like there's so many different aspects to it that like you're never really gonna come up with a logical conclusion to tie up every single loose end. And that's what's so fucking. I think this might be the most fascinating one we talked about today, to be quite honest with you, because it's so mad, and it's one of those that you'll never really come to a proper conclusion. My house is on fire. And you know, there's never. Hang on, I'll wait till that stops.
On that noise, thank you for tuning in to the ShiteTalk podcast.
Stopped. Right. The house has stopped from fucking going on fire, but
absolute hero downstairs.
It's that classic thing where you're making a fry or something and the fucking smoke gets into the smoke alarm. You go out with a towel or something and you're like fucking fanning it into shit. But yeah, we'll leave it there on that one. We'll leave that one there.
The second slice of toast is burned.
Fuck's sake. Right, we'll move on to the next one in a minute. I'm gonna go for a piss, and it's probably a good point to do that while the fucking alarm is going off. So we'll be back in a minute, lads. I love how every single conclusion we've come to so far has just been, oh, it must be aliens, mate.
As I was saying, it was just like literally everything. Oh, it could be aliens. There's probably aliens. That is.
It's got to be aliens. It's got to be aliens.
Madeline McCann's probably aliens.
Madeline McCann was an alien, man.
I don't know if you're recording it. Just real quick, I just got this football news. Here, Nuno is leaving Wolves.
No way, is he?
Yeah, he's apparently. He just came up there on my phone there where you were gone. Sky Sports. Santo to leave Wolves following the final Premier League game of the season.
Oh, mad! That's insane. Well,
yeah, I did not expect that. Now, I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, Wolves have had a bit of a stinker of a season, like, and it's not really out of any fault of their own. Like Raul Jimenez got a really bad injury, didn't he, against Arsenal? So that was probably the biggest fucking shank into their season. But yeah, no, that's a bit of a shock now, I have to say. A lot of managers leaving now, actually, towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where like the lockdown period sent a few boys into the bin.
Yeah, like you got Nuno, you got obviously Allardyce is leaving West Brom, you've got Roy is leaving Crystal Palace. I can see Frank Lampard ending up there, to be quite honest, at Palace.
You think?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Who else? I swear there's been a few more, but maybe not. Like, yeah, that's a bit of a shock now. I can't lie.
Have no managers next season.
It's going to be no managers, mate. Like, obviously Tottenham got rid of Mourinho recently. Like, who the fuck are Tottenham going to bring in?
Oh, Tottenham are in the bin, mate. Tottenham are so in the bin. Arsenal as well are in the bin. Just the two of them are just gone.
So far
gone. They're finished.
I'm hoping that, like, obviously, if Chelsea beat Villa on the final day, like, it's no matter what, we're finishing third. But like, if there's still a bit of me hoping that Tottenham can do us a favour against Leicester, but I've no faith in them to do that. Like, I don't see that.
I don't either. Harry Kane is already out the door, I think.
Did you see the video actually on Twitter? He was like, "Oh, what's the
fuck can I do, man?"
He was like, "What's the fucking point anymore?"
This is so done, poor lad.
Yeah. Oh, you got a feel for him though, because he needs to get his fucking ass out of there.
Good, like. Right.
Okay, I've got two more, or three more. Do I? Okay, no, I've got three more. So we're fucking flying.
Oh, lovely.
Let me see. Am my camera recording? Yes, I am. That fucking EOS utility is the handiest thing I've ever fucking downloaded, mate. But yeah, the next one I want to talk about, it might be one that is a bit of a shorter one compared to the other ones. It's probably not as long-winded, but do you know when you see a plane flying through the air, mate, and you see this like white shit coming out the back of it?
Yeah.
What is that?
Okay, what is that? That's a good question. What is that? What is the white shit that comes out of the plane? I think that's how clouds are formed. That's just the government's just not wise. That's the most stupid thing Greenwich has ever said on the internet ever. That is not Greenwich believed. I do not believe that.
It's just damning every single thing you were taught in geography back in school. It's like, I think it's how clouds are made, mate.
Poor old Miss Farr rips the book back in the day.
Oh my god!
Ciao, Miss Farr, legendary geography teacher. Do you know what, mate? I've actually never thought about that. I've never even given that a second notion. I honestly just thought it was, again, as stupid as it sounds, it was just air, or I don't.
Yeah, like it's something. It's something we've all probably thought about as a kid, but kind of probably went. Who cares?
I'm
really?
not bothered thinking about this for longer than 5 minutes.
Exactly, it is what it is. But you know, I seen this on the fucking list of conspiracy theories yesterday that I was looking up, and I was like, this is actually quite interesting. I'll read the thing that I've got. Right, when jets fly through the air, they emit an exhaust of vapor water known as contrail, short for condensation trail. Some people believe that some of the contrails we see are actually chemtrails, or rather chemical trails emitted from these jets. What is contained in these chemicals are why they are being put up for debate. Some believe that these chemtrails have effects on the weather, while others believe these chemtrails have dangerous chemicals which are harmful to humans. These people argue that the government is behind many of these chemtrails and that they are secretly emitting these harmful chemicals into the atmosphere. So there's two options for you there, mate. Having an effect on weather, which is one I've never heard, and I don't see what effect it would be having. And the second one, which I actually have heard before, is that they're releasing harmful chemicals into the air. And one that I heard previously is like it causes like terminal illness. Now, yeah, That is one. That's one I've heard, man. Yeah, that's one. I think I see that on like an old Shane Dawson conspiracy theories fucking video.
If anyone's done it, it's Shane Dawson, 100%.
Shane Dawson, wow.
What a legend of the YouTube scene. Hashtagger of the year.
As if that's a prestigious award that's up for fucking.
He's proud to accept that. That's why he's retired. And that's why we don't see him enough. He's accepted that reward. He took his money. He's gone. Right. Anyway, what do I think it is? I think you're right. I don't think it's the weather. I think it'd be pretty mad to say it was the weather because we live in Ireland right now, and if they're controlling the weather, they're doing a shite out job of it. Anyone who's around the country, you'll know, especially last 2 days.
It's been the worst fucking May weather I've ever had to experience. I think it's horrendous.
I 100% agree with you, mate. I think one day we had sun, hail, rain, thunder, all of it.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
So if you live in England or Ireland, boys, you know the struggle. So I don't think it's anything to do with weather. The harmful chemical stuff is a bit concerning. I will say that now because the amount of planes that do be taken off and going across and all this stuff would be very, very concerning. But again, I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't say it's unrealistic either. Like there's all this talk about fucking overpopulation, and I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories saying that the government are secretly trying to. Now, again, this is speculation. No one panic.
This is what this whole episode is, lads. It's all just theories. It's a theory for a reason.
Don't come for us, basically. But there's a theory that the government is trying to thin us out a little bit, and there is potentially in more populated countries. As I think China is the main one now, or they're seriously overpopulated. I think I read somewhere. No, this could be bullshit, but I think I remember reading somewhere about how there's a lot of you have to wear masks a lot because of the pollution and stuff like that. Apparently, now again, boys, this is just speculation. I don't know if it's 100% true, but there is allegedly a theory that goes around that says the reason they don't clear that up is because they actually do want to thin the population out.
Yeah,
they do want to allow and bring it back to the airplanes. Then, like, I suppose
it's the easiest way of distributing it. If that is it's the easiest way to distribute. If that is what
that's what I was going to say. In terms of doing it incognito, that's probably the best way to do it. Because, like you say, when you look at a plane, you just think that's air. You don't even like when you literally said at the start, we don't give it more than a second's notion really when we see that. But now you look. I'm not going to lie, mate. I'm going to be looking at a plane and going, you said a fuck away from me, mate. I'm walk in the opposite direction fairly quick.
Yeah, like I don't know if I fully believe in it, but that thing about thinning out the population, like to, I don't know, like make sure there's a good balance or like a balance of resources or management of resources. Like that's the only logical conclusion I can come to as to why they'd want to do that. But again, mate, you wouldn't put it past the governments of the world.
We've seen some shit. We've seen and heard some shit. I mean, we've heard about aliens apparently coming back again, bring it back to aliens like the 70th time this podcast.
Well, like, there's some people out there, now I don't believe in this, we mentioned this on the last podcast, that China created COVID.
Yeah.
And basically, for that same reason of, and you mentioned China, in fact, as well, for that reason of thinning out the population. I don't believe in that personally. If you do, I'm not gonna, fucking damn you for it. But I don't believe that personally. But it's again not exactly out of the realms of possibility. And like you, mate, I think next time I see one of these planes, I'm definitely going to be like, get me inside now, because I don't trust it. I don't trust it anymore.
That's the thing, and that's the thing with this. Now you've got another point of view of it. Like it just gives you a second's like thought about it. Like now again, could be all bullshit, could be all waffle, but I suppose. Look,
you just don't know. You just don't know.
Even though if it's gone over your house, you're done.
you're absolutely finished. Like it's over for you.
You're in the bin.
But that's one of those things that's like an everyday thing that people don't even like as you said, man, we don't give it a second thought. We just kind of look at it and we say, oh, it's just see what I think the conclusion I had. It's one of those things I thought about when I was a kid more so, and it was like, oh, like you, when I was a kid, I also thought it was clouds being formed. That's kind of what I thought, and then I was like, when I got older, realized that that's not the case. I kind of thought to myself, maybe it's just like, yeah, air coming out of the engines, or you know, it's kind of years of playing fucking video games like Mario Kart and stuff like that, where the fucking air comes out of the exhaust pipe. I thought that was like the equivalent for like a plane or something. Like, I'm just, again, not educated enough on it to know, but I thought I just compared it to Mario Kart.
Yeah, this is literally real life planes are based off Mario Kart, boys, in case you're wondering.
I just needed a good
for planes are based off Mario Kart's exhausts.
I just needed a good comparison point of view, but yeah, it came out as a bit of a fucking retarded statement. But let's see, what else have we got? Okay, this one is again calling out the government.
Oh Lord, we're done, boys.
But you know what? It's not even like Irish government. It's just like the government, as we
the general
know
term government.
Yeah, and it is that thing of the way schools teach children these days. Okay, or even back in our day. And I'll read out what I have. Basically, it's basically the basic premise of it is that. Are you serious? The fucking alarm's going off again.
There's something going on in your house right now.
A 9:15 alarm. Currently
no, Siri, shut up, man. I said alarm, and Siri was like, "Oh, I'll set your alarm for you."
Fuck off.
What was I going to say? Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, the way schools teach kids these days, right? So here's what I got. This could sound very stupid, but for decades, the school systems throughout the United States and other countries have been dramatically declining in education, and many will claim this is by no accident. It is in the best interest of people in power to have a population that is smart enough to essentially be a slave, but not smart enough to free themselves from their bondage. Many of the schools focus on treating children like robots and to take orders. Most schools focus on memorization rather than creativity. Schools these days teach children what to think as opposed to how to think. As a result, children grow up to be much more docile towards taking orders and going with the flow. People less likely to question their reality or their government are much, much more easily manipulated. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. It's one of those things again where when you actually stop and think about it, you kind of think, you know, what are we doing right now? Like, obviously you're in college, you're doing your college course, you're wanting to be a physio. I'm in college wanting to not really knowing what I want to do at the minute, to be honest, working some sort of TV, radio, YouTube, whatever. And those aren't really things you learn in school, is it? Like,
no.
It's a strange one. Like, it's kind of like school teaches you the very basics of how to work in a very basic job, with all due respect. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think what the main thing is, I think school teaches you to work to a deadline in that sense. Like, say for instance, you take school, you have homework, you're given it at a certain time, usually the end of the day. You take it down, you have to get it done by this time, or there's some sort of punishment, there's a reprimand for it. I think that's what schools focus on a lot. And then what you're saying there as well, in fairness, like, we're not really taught what we want to do. We're taught what we are told we're going to be taught. So in a sense that we don't come in and say, oh, I'd like to learn about this, for instance. And then we're told, right, well, you have 4 subjects here. You can choose to do one of these 4, and then another 4, another 4, another 4. And that's just how it works, I think, in our school anyway.
Yeah.
And then you think about it a bit more as well, like I don't, like you say, I don't know if I fully believe it, but I do admit there's elements of that are very, very true. We don't get taught about things like taxes unless you take a certain class. You don't get taught really how to manage money, in a sense that, this is, you should be like splitting up and say, this is your savings, this is your weekly, and this is your, your kitty for, whenever you need it, or that kind of thing. Like a free pot almost. it's definitely an interesting one. It definitely makes you question a lot of what we did in school.
Yeah, I think particularly primary school as well. Like at least in secondary school, you kind of get to a point where you're allowed to pick subjects that fit your personality and your niche and what you're good at. Like you get to express yourself a bit more. But like back in like primary school, and obviously children are a lot more susceptible and a lot more easily influenced or easily manipulated when they're in primary school, like that age. And it's like you're taught to do the basics, like the basic maths, basic English, basic, whatever. Again, I like yourself, man. I don't think I fully believe in it, but you brought up an interesting point there about like important shit that you need to know as an adult, and unless you take a certain class, you don't like that. It's optional for you to not know that shit, where it could be maybe compulsory for you to be able to function as a human adult in the real world, sort of thing. Like for me, like it was like when you leave school, it's a bit of you're thrown into the deep end sort of thing, nearly. Well, like if you didn't have your parents, say, if you lived alone, it would be a little bit like, oh shit, like what do I do now?
It's a reality check, definitely.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, lads, because it's an interesting topic, and I feel like it's something that could be debated. That thing about like teaching children at a very young age to be slaves when they're older, like
it's a lot to process. But again, like I suppose the reality of this is, right, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what the government does. Now, again, the government as a broader term, not our government, obviously.
Yeah.
We don't know what they do. We don't know what they want us to do, if they want us to do anything, if it is a case of that they are, to turn us to quote unquote slaves, or is it just a case of it's a really shit poor system? Like, we say we try and make it more logical. Is it just a case of that it's just a really shit system? There's not enough time, and I think this year in particular, I highlight there's not enough time put into certain aspects of education. I think, especially in Ireland, third level was very much neglected. Primary school was neglected. Most leaving certs were really the only ones that got a lot of attention. So is it a case of, looking more logically, is it a case of just we have a really terrible education system? Or is it obviously, like you say, this conspiracy theory where we are just being slowly given information and enough information to get the bare minimum to survive and not really question this, that, and the other about what's going on in the world?
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit more of an outdated theory, if I'm being honest. And what I mean by that is, I feel like what they're alluding to here is that the pathway leads you to a job that is, dull and one that you don't want to do, but you have to do it to get by in the long run. And I feel like most people these days, I know me and you are lucky enough to be in college, most people, when they leave school, will look to go to college and will look to ultimately end up in a career that they want to be in. Like I'm not saying there's a lot more ambition, but there's probably a lot more chances for young people to actually go off and do what they want to do. And, we're lucky, and a lot of other people are lucky too, that ultimately we're going down that path, that in the end game, we are going to have a career that isn't going to be like, it won't feel like work because we love it so much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just on as well, I fully agree with you there, actually. Like, in particular now, the age of the internet, where a lot of things have become a possibility now. Like, for instance, just take what we're doing here, for instance, YouTube now. Like, you can make a career out of doing YouTube, and you don't need an education to do that. You don't need a cert to say, I've done 4 years of this. It helps if you have some of that skills, but you don't require it. Like, YouTube won't stop you and ask for a cert or something like that. So I do agree with you in the sense that I think like it's an outdated theory, and definitely back in the day, I could imagine that there was a strong feeling of you have to either go left or right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can either go and do the dull, boring job, or, you can, again, not to offend people when I say this, but you can do that, or you can stay at home and, work from home, or
be
a
a, like,
house parents, or something like that.
yeah, and go down. Yeah, there's a lot more pathways for people these days. I think is ultimately the message we're trying to deliver there. That's an interesting one, though. As we said, probably outdated. Okay, I've got one more, and this one is a big one. All right, this is one we
fucking knew this was coming. There was a sense of saving with this last one.
To be honest, this one was just quite far down the list when I was making the list of theories, right? And it kind of, here we go again. It kind of ties back into
bloody aliens,
extraterrestrial government agreements.
Right.
So I presume you've probably heard of the theory of all the biggest world leaders being some form of reptile.
Yeah, look, I think I kind of alluded to it earlier in the sense that we talked about the shape-shifting side of alien shape-shift. We don't actually know what big figures are real. This is kind of what I was alluding to here. We don't bloody know.
Yeah. And it's not only like world leaders, but there's been videos of celebrities who are rumored to be in the Illuminati back in the day. Of like, I remember seeing a Justin Bieber video of his like eyeball doing like a really weird thing where it kind of like nearly rolls back and rolls forward again. I think
I've seen this video, yeah. And it kind of goes to like a light virus or something like that.
And maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but does his tongue like go like a reptile for like 2 seconds? Does he go like...
I don't know, man. I definitely remember seeing something like that. I think it was taken down fairly quick afterwards.
Yeah, perhaps I'm remembering it wrong, but yeah. I'll read out what I have. Let's restart camera recording. I'll read out what I have here. Okay. The Reptilians Conspiracy is what it's called.
Lovely.
Involves a race of extraterrestrials from the star Alpha Draconis in the Draco constellation. So we're really getting out there at the minute. Unlike humans, the reptilians are a group of beings who are very unemotional while being very logical and hierarchical. Yeah, something like that. According to researchers such as David Icke and Alex Collier, these beings are able to shapeshift, as we said, into different forms, such as humans. Some people believe certain people in the high places of power, such as Queen Elizabeth and other members of the royal families, to be shape-shifting reptilians, which operate under a human disguise most of the time. The rationale for this theory revolves around various ancient myths and texts, as well as present-day testimonies of people experiencing these beings. People such as Arizona Wilder are on a video discussing ritual abuse which they experienced by these shape-shifting reptilian beings. Not all reptilians shapeshift, and there are different types of reptilians depending on where they sit in the hierarchy. Majority of reptilians operate on a hive mind where there is very little individuality and freedom, and there is much more structure and control by their masters at the top. So, there's a lot more information on that than is probably needed, and probably that we've had on any other theory so far. But it kind of, I probably should have mentioned it when we were talking about the shape-shifting aspect of it. What do we think about this one, lads? Is this real, or is it just a load of bollocks? Like,
this is the thing. Like, it's such a hefty one as well. Like, it literally would, as any of these theories would, they would change how we feel and how we see the world. Like, to be told, these are shape-shifting reptiles, that are controlling. Like, we're not even talking about the top ways. We don't even know where them top ways are. If they're controlling the hive, so to speak. So if we say a hive mind are controlling the reptiles lower down, like, I don't know, mate. It's a heavy one.
Yeah,
a heavy one. I'll say that much.
Yeah, and as I said, it kind of does allude to that shapeshifting thing and a idea of a secret invasion currently happening under our noses. And I mean, who's to say, really? But it does sound very out there. Like, they mentioned the British royal family there. Like,
yeah, and
does it tie back into the Illuminati, all that kind of stuff? Does it tie back into that where you have to?
Yeah.
Does it all work under that same structure? I don't know.
And just back to what you're saying there, mate, about like specifics and all this stuff. like they name dropped a place or something like that, didn't they? Like a planet or something like that.
Yeah, some sort of constellation, the Draco constellation, Draco Nest,
Like
Draco
that.
Draco constellation.
That's a bit mad. Like, it's one thing to say, right, that you're oh yeah, them boys are reptiles. Another thing to drop a bloody constellation and like give all this detail now, however specific it is again up for interpretation, of course. But like, fuck me.
Yeah, like it mentions David Icke there and another fella, Alex Collier. Like these boys, from what I've heard, David Icke in particular, he was on True Geordie. He seems to be a bit of a reliable head, and he seems to be one of those that believes in this specific theory that a lot of the world leaders and people at the top of society are in fact otherworldly creatures. That it kind of, yeah, as I said, secret invasion, that type of shit. And it, again, comes back to what we were saying right at the beginning of the pod about this possible big news being revealed about aliens in the next month or two.
Yeah. Oh, this is the thing, mate, right? Sorry, you go on. You were going on.
I was just saying it all ties together at the end of the day. Like it's.
Well, that's actually literally what I was going to say. It's funny how, you know, we talked about, you know, a couple of theories, and in all certain ways they do have a potential link, which is extraterrestrial. Apart, obviously, from the alien one shitting out, or not the alien one, the plane shitting out chemicals. That's probably not anything to do with aliens, but we could put it on them if we wanted. We might as well.
We said Bermuda Triangle, like all of that shit. We said all of that shit is related to otherworldly fucking beings and Mars and the lost city of Atlantis and all this. Like we said, all of this comes under the one bracket, and that is probably the maddest thing about it. But yeah,
have we just made our own conspiracy theory there? Have we just done a bit of an inception and made a conspiracy theory from other conspiracy theories?
Conspiracy within a conspiracy. Perhaps we have.
Jesus Christ! Now it's going to get mad.
The ShiteTalk conspiracy, lads. It's all a lie.
It's all fucking aliens.
Oh God!
It's like, you ever see Mark Goldbridge? It's like always bloody Burnley. It's always bloody aliens.
We should make that meme. We just say it's always bloody.
Context ShiteTalk
podcast. Oh God!
It's bloody alien. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, ultimately that might be what it ends up coming down to at the end of the day. But look, I think we might wrap it up here, lads, because we've covered a lot in that. I think we probably covered more in that than we did in the first one. And in that sense, you could argue this is better than the first one. But
there's been some interesting theories thrown around. Obviously, you know, agree about same planes make clouds. Kelly having a bit of an agreement there. Dream shifting men, if you're into that sort of thing. Always bloody aliens.
We could try and come up with some sort of constellation between the dream eating fella and aliens as well, but like we could be here until next Christmas.
You can say you have your own minds, boys. You can work it out. Put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Some alien dumps in your ear or something like that. You can figure that out.
That reminds me, usually definitely if you have a dream tonight and you see this geezer, you have to let us know and send us.
I'm gonna write it down, mate. I'm gonna write it down. We're gonna find out tonight.
If this is all bollocks.
It's all shit. I'm actually quite nervous, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like that's the thing we said about him. Like he could be just an innocent bystander, or he could just be the guy that's murdering you in your dreams. You just don't know.
I am 100% sleeping with a knife tonight.
Lovely stuff.
Shank disgusting.
Well, that was it, lads. That was Conspiracy Theories 2.0. We said we gave 2 options for this week's episode. It was either going to be conspiracies or urban legends. Conspiracies won the vote, but there actually was quite a few votes for urban legends. So if you'd still like us to do that in the next episode, perhaps leave a like, because there are some great ones, man. I love a good urban legend, me.
There's some decent ones out there, definitely.
They're absolutely quality. But if you have enjoyed this episode, lads, don't forget to leave a like on it. My thanks to Grivach once again. Go subscribe to him, and if you want, subscribe to me as well. Links are all in the description. Most importantly of all, though, go subscribe to the ShiteTalk podcast down below. Big red button. Hit the notification bell if you did enjoy. Thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time. Take care and good luck, lads.